Splix.io, a game where you try and capture as much land as possible. How do you play? What are some good starting off strats? Let's jump right into it. So to start things off, let's go with the basics. You have your minimap, your leaderboard, and your personal info. And the minimap shows all the different land masses and where you are as a tiny white dot. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get into how the game works and some gameplay mechanics. In Splix.io, when you spawn in, you will be given this little grid. Your goal is to expand this grid as big as you possibly can and get kills along the way without dying. All you need to do to capture some more land is to circle around and reconnect back with your own land. You can claim any land in the game even if it is owned by another player. To kill a player, all you need to do is run into their tail, but as you probably noticed, when you are inside your own squares, you do not have a tail. When you are within your own squares, you are invincible. So you could play it safe and just grab little pieces of land here and there, or play it dangerous and try and grab massive amounts. So let's get into one of the first main strategies that you will be utilizing in the game, claiming mass. As I said, you can claim land by encircling it and reconnecting back. But what you might not know is that you actually don't need to completely surround the land with your tail. You could slowly work your way out and make yourself an almost completed square. And all you need to do is connect the end and boom, all of the land within it has now been claimed. This can be done on a massive scale. And that is the main way people claim tons of mass. Another strategy to try is the cross strategy, where you slowly build out with a cross. So to do the cross, all you need to do is make yourself, well, a cross out of your land, and then all you need to do is just reconnect the corners and then have it stick out a little bit, reconnect the corners, have it stick out a little bit, as you can see on screen. Now I'll speed it up so you can see the process faster, but as you can see, it is growing my land relatively fast. Not as fast as working my way around and connecting a giant square would be, but it is definitely a good way to get yourself some terrain starting off. Now let's get into some attacking. Number 1, Valor. Now Valor has to be the most used strategy in Splix.io, for me anyway. All you need to do is extend yourself so that they think they can get you, but then reconnect back and kill them before they can get back. If you do it right, you will get yourself a kill. But if you do it wrong and overextend yourself, you will be the one that ends up dying. One strategy, though extremely risky you could try, is to not turn back when you see them come for you. When you stretch out to kind of lure them in and then you see them come out to try and get you, don't go back to reconnect. Keep going out and they will think they can get you, but go for the kill before they can kill you. Now this doesn't work every time, but it works fairly often because most people don't expect you to charge in when you are overextended. And if you are way overextended, it is by far your only option. Number 2, the hand-to-hand. Now I call this one the hand-to-hand mostly because it is very much like hand-to-hand combat. Both players are right next to each other, trying to kill each other, trying to get one to mess up. Now the main one with this one is to be persistent, be patient, and don't make any mistakes. Now a hand-to-hand battle can go on for quite some time, and eventually one player might try and lure the other player a little bit too far and slip up. Now if you remain patient and wait for them to try and lure you in just a bit too far, you can always win. But if you try too hard to lure them in, it could work, but it might also result in death. Oftentimes hand-to-hands will be traded evenly, but pretty much every single time, it just comes down to one player making a mistake and then the other player capitalizing on it. Either that, or they run into each other head first, which brings me to another point. Now normally head-on collisions when you are inside neutral terrain end up in both players' deaths. Now because you are invincible inside your own land, you can go head first into someone and not die. And oftentimes going straight head first into someone is very much not expected. Now the head-on collision, or I sometimes call it uppercut, because oftentimes you'll 180 and kind of uppercut your opponent straight first into their head. And that's really what I like about it. It's not much different than the hand-to-hand, but the lure is still by far the best strategy. So now it's time to get into some defense. As your land gets bigger and bigger, people will try and take bigger and bigger chunks. So you have to be consistently patrolling the edges. While patrolling the edges, if you see a color near you, hop up, give it a little scouting mission, and see if they're nearby. Along with patrolling your borders, keep an eye on the mini-map. If you see any little masses pop up right next to yours, go check them out. They are probably going to turn into threats very quickly. Now, if someone's living inside your mass, if you do get the kill on them, the nice thing is you can just reconnect your land and it'll fill in all of the land that they took. So it's pretty easy to get your land back as long as you catch it relatively early. That's why you gotta be consistently patrolling your borders. I got into Splix.io in the very early beta when there was only 6 people playing on one development server. I'm sure there are going to be some more strategies developed in the future, but these are just some basic ones that I use every single time I play. Now, for such a simple game like Splix.io, these strategies may be the only ones that there could be. But people are very creative, and who knows what they'll come up with next. I may do some videos in the future on advanced strategies if there are ever some that are developed in the future, or if I ever develop some myself. As of now, these are the only ones that I know. And so that's it for this video on basic tips and tricks and how to play Splix.io. I hope you did enjoy it. I spent quite a while getting all the footage you saw in the background. If you enjoyed this video and it helped you, make sure to give it a like and share it with someone else who wants to get into Splix.io. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.